when you have to go get the mail on streets like this. First of all, there's an important issue that they're not looking at. The postal workers, the letter carriers, are security service for the whole of Canada. We know where our seniors live. We know where differently able people live. We know when people are on vacation, who belongs in that area, who doesn't belong in that area. They look after their customers. I was the safety officer with this local for approximately 10 years. We went to a meeting with a major city within the Edmonton vicinity. Canada Post was there, and believe it or not, for the first time, we were in agreement on an issue. Dr. Lou Francis Getty, who I'm sure you've all heard of, was at this meeting. We proposed that they pass a bylaw to make sure that the sidewalks were clean so that people of all types could get around. We went to City Council, Francis Getty presented his facts, we presented ours. But we were told in the end, our city isn't gonna be run by some big government corporation that tells us what to do. What are we going to do? Who's in charge of cleaning the sidewalks, I'd like to know, in front of those street boxes? Who cleans the sidewalk if they're in front of a park? Does the city clean that? Who's the expense gonna get passed on to? The government may not, but it's going to be passed on to us. Well, your city taxes are going to have to go up a little more, because now, besides removing the snow from the road, we're going to have to remove it in front of the street letter boxes, or CMBs, so that people can go get them. What a crock of bulls idiots are in Ottawa, which is nothing new. All I'm saying is, and it's our saying, but it's true, an injury to one is an injury to all. And if somebody falls on there, I hope we're able, me being a senior now, so I can sue their rear end off. Thank you.
I'm here today representing our president and CEO from the United Way of the Alberta Capital Region. And one of the major things that this government seems to have forgotten, and they've sent a letter through Imagine Canada, to the Minister Ray, is that the cost of their service and the cost of postage and that is going to have a huge impact on communities from coast to coast to coast, on their fundraising abilities and their abilities to offer programs in the communities for those less able. So those disadvantaged that. Just an example.
30 or 40 years worth of our governments, our parliaments, no longer considering us constituents. We are not citizens, we are consumers, we are not people who count. I've watched this, what I call carnivorous capitalism, overcoming all of the parliamentary, all of the community things, all of the things that all of us together have built up. All you're seeing here is, from my perspective, a continuation of that attack that's been going on for all this time. We are not the 1%, and therefore we don't count. Now, I have a question. I just read a report, I think it was either The Economist or the UN put out a study that said that right now, 85 people in the world, billionaires, control as much wealth as 3.5 billion of us at the bottom. And they also said, over the next 20 years, something like 47% of all existing jobs will be gone. That's the plan. That's where they're headed. So in light of those ideas that you can see a continuous attack over years on people. What does this unit have to say to all of us about not just saving Canada Post, but frankly, are there any plans for all of us to get together and throw this group of bombs out?
You know, we're starting this fight back campaign against the current situation, but we believe that by expanding this fight to include as many community groups and allies as we possibly can, and bring the message to a broad base of the population, just as you've said, about the elimination of jobs and the rampant capitalism eating up the middle class and making us all disappear. The more and more people realize that it's the current people sitting on the government side of the house that is doing this to us, that we need to throw the bums out and bring in individuals who will support the working class and will work to strengthen the middle class in this country, because it's workers like all of us here that have built this country, not the few that are skimming off the profits at the top.
People want to have broken bones going back and forth to their mailbox, because in one weekend in Edmonton there was 75 fractures due to people slipping and falling on ice. So let's say one senior falls, slips, breaks the hip, you're in the healthcare system. If you don't get proper treatment and proper care and you don't recover, you're in rehab for a while, and if that doesn't work, you're placed in a nursing home by no choice. Now, who can sue the post office for falling in front of your mailbox? Because I live in an area where it's door to door, and I'm only maybe 5-minute walk to the garbage bin. Because of the ice, I have to load my garbage in my car and drive it to the bin, because I won't make it there and back and not break something. So that's my question. What are they going to do with that, and what it does to healthcare? It's going to destroy that senior's life ending up in a nursing home who's been living at home. And as far as I'm concerned, Canada Post is a bully in capital letters. You're not only picking on employees, you're also picking on your Canadian taxpayers.
I'm here representing the Edmonton Labor Council. The Labor Council, we represent a number of people in the communities. And we do a lot of assistance in the community areas. And I was just thinking about it, Terry and I were talking, I was saying, gee, we do a mail out at least once every month. And every year. And I'm thinking the price of our postal mail out is going to keep going up. And for us, we rely on our affiliation dues. So how are we going to keep getting money to pay for a postal system? Like, what do you think, about 4,000 a month like it will increase? So are we going to start, saying, listen guys, we're going to either have to get you to come pick up the mail, or we're going to have to increase your fees. And then I'm looking at this, how is it going to deal with all the other community areas? Like if you think of all our community centers and how they're, mailing out, trying to get money to support our living poor here. So I'm thinking, I don't know what the postal system is thinking for this. Are they asking people not to use them? Are they hoping that maybe everybody's going to win the millions and be able to pay for everything? But I also, when I heard about the increase, as a Canadian citizen, I thought, oh, maybe I woke up with rose-colored glasses. Here they're increasing our postal service so they can keep continually paying our workers, the workers who come to work and service us. So maybe they're going to give them increases, maybe they're going to give them better pensions. And then I thought, oh no, I woke up, maybe I should stop drinking and believe that they're not here to help us. They've got their bottom line, and it's to serve themselves, not the Canadian citizens. I also have senior citizens for parents who do get the postal service to their door. And I'm looking at them, my parents and my husband's parents both need assistance to walk anywhere. They're not going to be able to go out and get their mail. They live in a small community. Who's going to be there to help them? I'm going to have to maybe think about it myself. Am I going to be able to go and be their postal service? I mean, it's being pushed back onto us as citizens of Canada to keep paying for what this government, who we elected, to help us. And the government is keep taking our cutbacks. I work in the healthcare system. I'm being slashed as well. I can't give service to our patients because the government has again thought, well, you know, we don't need this and we don't need that. I am here and I support the Canada Postal System there and I support all workers. And I know everybody has to make a living and I don't know, this government is not for us and now Canada isn't being the place to live. I mean, we're dropping down to the bottom there.
Yours so that our communities and especially our cities are wheelchair accessible and accessible to people with partial disabilities and extremely serious disabilities. The injuries affecting postal delivery workers are very high. I've heard that up to 97% of letter carriers sustain serious injuries. So without letter carriers, are those injuries now going to be incurred by the general public? And not only that, but once these people do have injuries, their mail is going to be that much more inaccessible. So it's a double-edged sword being waged against the public and against letter carriers. I don't understand why a Canadian institution, which is being respected as world-class, is suddenly turning against the communities, turning against the workers, turning against the disabled.